Greetings, my beer-loving friends from all over the world. Glad you're here today. I want to share with you today a style of beer that, well, I really think needs to be produced more of in the United States. It's one that I fell in love with about 30 years ago when I really got into good craft beer, and I just fell in love with it. It's not really hard to find, but when you do find it, if it's produced correctly, it is fantastic. It's a style of beer that I think you would enjoy too. Now we're going to find out what that style is, and we're going to find out what makes it tick, and we're going to do it on So, like I said, this is a style of beer that I fell in love with 30 years ago. That was when I was really getting into my appreciation for beer. And yes, I've been appreciating beer for much longer than that, but this one really captivated my heart. Something that I found at various locations, either at small brew pubs or in bottles or cans or produced commercially for that matter. It's a style that actually came from England. Now, we've been doing some English beers before. Yes, we know that. And there are American variants of this, yes, much like IPAs, and no, this is not an IPA. But it's kind of a precursor to it, if you would, at least what I think. The style is called ESB in America. Oh, we call it extra special bitter, and yes, they have that over there in England as well, though it's not quite as widely known by that moniker as we know it here in the States. Now, we've had a couple of different beers here named that. Specifically for me, that would be the Green Man ESB, one of my favorites. I also fell in love with Red Hook ESB. That was my first. And when I had it, it was magical. Usually you're going to hear it called pub ale, and that's perfectly fine, or pale ale or whatnot. Sierra Nevada makes a pale ale as well. It's more along what they call the bitter style. We're going to find out exactly what that style means. So let's get into it. Now, according to the Beer Judge Certification Program, what it came out of is English pale ales as a draft product from the late 1800s. The use of crystal malts, of bitters from the hops, more widespread after World War I. So what we have here today is a style that we generally call in America an ESB, or an extra special bitter. Now, that is supposed to be a classic British style beer based on the pale ale. I've got an example of it right here that we're going to be trying today that really is more of the English pale ale. We got a number of different styles. We got a number of different kinds. Right here I've got Old Speckle Hen. That's a distinctive English pale ale. There's other ones too. There's Boddingtons. I believe there's Samuel Smiths. There's a couple of them out there that are just excellent. I got one in there called Trooper. ESB, which stands for Extra Special Bitter, is a classic British beer style that balances rich malt flavors with a firm but not overpowering bitterness. Despite the name, ESBs aren't particularly bitter by any standards, as you would have with an IPA, especially compared to the hoppier American styles of IPAs. The term bitter in the UK particularly refers to pale ales in general, with ESB being the strongest and most full-bodied version of the family. Below are ordinary bitter and best bitter, and we'll talk about those in a minute. At its core, the ESB is all about balance. The malt profiles tend to be bready, toasty, slightly sweet with notes of caramel, biscuits, and sometimes a touch of fruitiness. I've actually had that before from the yeast. It's not heavy like a stout or sweet like some lagers. It just has a smooth, satisfying malt base that gives a warm, comfortable feeling. Now, it also goes on to say that the alcohol content sits about 4.5% to 6%, so it's not really boozy, it's more of a session beer. You go, you drink it, you can sit there for a while drinking it. Kind of think of a Smittix. But Fuller's actually has the name ESB. They're the only ones over there that use it. We kind of co-opted here in America to use it as an example of what would be an English style bitter. Now, when we're talking about bitters, we're talking about three styles of English bitter. And this is, of course, according to the beer judge certification program. First of all is an ordinary bitter. Low gravity, alcohol, carbonation. Remember we said it could be hand pumped or gravity fed for that matter. It's a session beer. You're not going to go and you're not going to get very drunk off of it. It's got a malt profile but can vary widely. It's bready, biscuity, sometimes fruity with some hop floral and earthy, resiny characters. Mainly pale malt, so you're going to have a little bit lighter in color. It's not going to be very, very heavy in color, but it's going to still have that malt flavor to it. Now the next part of the style is going to be the best bitter. That's the next category up. More malt balanced. Lower malt aroma though. Bready, biscuity, lightly toasted. It's got a floral, earthy, resiny, a little bit more fruity than that, a little bit more flavorful, a bit more alcohol than a simple bitter. It's a stronger session style beer. More base malt than bitter. So the more the color, you're going to have maybe an amber, a deep gold, maybe even closer to the brown ales. It has more hop bitters, medium to low fruit esters. So you're not going to taste a lot of the fruitiness in it. You are going to taste a little bit more of the malt base to it. The last style, which generally we consider to be the ESB, is going to be your strong bitter. It is stronger than alcohol. It has more hop bitters. It says medium to low fruit esters, but I've had some that have been really, really excellent. The US variants can be deep gold to amber. And like we said before, of course, in England, ESB is a Fuller's trademark. So I encourage any of the brewers out there that are listening, please try your hand at making an ESB. For ordinary bitters, some of the styles are Fuller's Chiswick Bitter, Timothy Taylor's Golden Best, Green King IPA. Now, I believe we did one on Green King before. For the best bitter, Timothy Taylor's Bolt Maker, Adnam's Southwold Bitter, as well St. Austell Tribute. For the extra special bitter, naturally, we're going to go with a Fuller's ESB or a Boddington's Pub Ale. Brains SA, I have no idea, I've never seen it, but I have seen Witchwood Hobgoblin. I'd love to try that. Those are the main styles of the British type ESBs. And again, what I have here today is Old Speckled Hen as an example of an English pub style ale. So it kind of follows along that, not ESB, but it follows along that traditional British pale ale. Now we're going to crack into this. We're not going to necessarily review it as itself, but we're going to taste it. We're going to really get the experience of the ESB. So stay tuned. I'm going to gently open this. Now, before I do, you know me, I'm kind of a beer glass nerd. To kind of give you an idea of some of the glasses you could use to serve this in, my suggestions are this. First of all, I got what they call a no-nick glass. But it's got that bulge around the side and it's kind of a tumbler shape, a little bit wider than the tumbler at the bottom. That is to make sure that it doesn't get nicked whenever you're placing it back on the shelf. You can also serve it in something like this. This is my nice little Smitty's glass. It's kind of a wheat glass, kind of a Guinness glass, something like that. I might serve it in this, but I've seen it being served in this. Now, you're going to have it in a pint tumbler. It's perfectly fine. In America, it's 16 ounces, but it's not an imperial pint. This one, however, is 14.9 fluid ounces, so it should fit in any one of these glasses. That would be my recommendation for your glasses. Now, let's open this thing. Let's find out what makes the English Pale Ale style tick. Remember, we're going for the style. Woo! Oh, that did sound good. Where shall I pour this? Let's see, I'm gonna just pour it, see if I can pour it in my tumbler. Now, I'm not gonna decant it. Oh, it did come with a little bit of a nitro thing. It looks like it's foaming up quite nicely. Okay. Give it a little bit of glass proud there. Very creamy head. I didn't expect it to have the little nitro canister in there. Here, now I'm going to move these glasses aside because Don't really need them at the moment. It's kind of a brownish, a deep, or maybe a light brown, kind of a light leather color. The bubbles on it are very, very fine, which kind of did surprise me because I wasn't expecting this fine of a bubble, which leads me to believe that there was some sort of a nitrogen. It didn't separate like I was expecting, like a Boddington's or like a Nitro Murphy's or like a Guinness might. It did foam up a little bit more. Now the head is retaining quite well, but let's see what the aroma smells like. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Haven't smelled that in a while. It smells like rising bread. Remember, we said it's going to be bready, biscuity, kind of like that, toast, you know. It does smell like rising bread, and that comes from the yeast, the type of yeast that they use. And of course, we noted the appearance. Let's have a taste, shall we? Very, very, very good. Malty. Bread, oh wow. Almost a coffee flavor to it. Slight coffeeness. Kind of a toffee, if you would, being that it is a little bit sweeter. It does have that malty sweetness to it. Not carbonated, which means that the nitrogen gave it its head, and the head is still being retained here, as you can see. So that's always a nice thing. Always like seeing a nice, good head retention. A lot of times you'll pour a beer out, you'll have coarse bubbles, just won't last very long. Toasty, bready, coffee, kind of like you would be if you ate toast and drank coffee at the same time. So think about it that way. Like I said, very smooth mouthfeel. No carbonation whatsoever. It doesn't explode in your mouth. What you get is a malt, the yeast, and all the rest of the flavors to it. So yeah, it's to style. So I would definitely say yes, this is going to be your distinctive English pub ale. This is the Old Speckled Hen. Now granted, there are different types of pub ales that you can find, or different types of ales, pale ales that you can find around that come from England. Again, I would definitely try Boddington's. Please, if you can find a can of it, or if you can go to a place that has it on tap, try it. Trust me. Watch them pour it too, by the way. Extremely wonderful experience. You could drink this a couple of times, 4.6, 4.8% alcohol. You won't have a problem drinking it and drinking it as a session. If you can get a pale ale from England, definitely try one. Now, along our series here, we're going to be delving into the American style ESB. And we've got another couple of examples there too. We've got the Green Man ESB, and I think I've got another couple that are just waiting in the wings there. Other than that, thank you very much for letting me review this for you. Be right back. We're going to close this right on out. Well, folks, that is the first of the series of the ESB, or the Pale Ale series that we're going to have. We do have a couple more coming. We also do have the interview with Andrew Myers of Swamp Rabbit Tap Room. We're going to find out a little bit more about his brewing style coming up shortly, as soon as we can get that video edited down. He also makes a good couple of brews that I think are really, really, really spot on. As well, there are a number of different breweries in the upstate that make some excellent beers. Along that line, I do want to mention, it's over here, the Beer Review Logbook. You can find that off of Amazon, $9.99. A great deal. You could put it in your pocket, take it with you. You can write down your beer experiences and keep a track of what you've done. Keep a track of what you've had, and just kind of remember the great beers that you've had since then. As well, remember, we have the Upstate Ale Trail. Now, I will say there are a number of breweries that have gone out of business there, so you're going to have to call ahead, find out what's available. But the ones listed in there should still be relatively active. I would definitely call to find out. But pick one up if you're ever in the upstate A lot of restaurants will have it. A lot of breweries will have it. There's probably online that you can find out that information. But try our breweries here in the upstate, not to mention any of the ones in Asheville. Asheville's kind of like the beer mecca of the Carolinas. Now, as well, you've got the Beer Judge Certification Score Sheet. Now, what that's going to do is you can take it, print it out, and it'll kind of a little bit more portable. Write down your beer experiences when you go somewhere. Just kind of keep a little notes there. Bring it back, transfer that into your beer review logbook, and you'll have a great record. You can even punch it and put it in a binder for later on. Now, that said, remember, subscribe, right? Subscribe, give us a like, ring that notification bell. Get notified the next time we have an episode out. We really like bringing this content to you, and we like to see the channel grow too. So remember, subscribe, like, ring the notification bell. And if you subscribed before and it's dropped you for some reason, definitely get back on. Now, as we say here on the channel, Prost, Chin Chin, Kanpai, Salud, and from America, cheers. Wonderful. Peace, love, and beer.